a moment. And you say, well, that's so rare. No, it's not. It's a common story I hear all the time. If you're not dead at 60, your health is declining at 60. By 70, nearly all men are into serious health decline. You're looking, if you retire at 60, 65, by 70, 75, you maybe have 10 good years of retirement, 15 at the most. Nearly all the men I know at 70 and 75, if their health isn't in decline, it probably is, their vitality is greatly reduced. Your ability to enjoy the golden years you've created is so low. By 80, virtually no men are out enjoying the golden years. They're enduring until they die. So the question remains, what's the point of prolonging a life you don't enjoy? How much better to create a life that you love, that you enjoy? Let's just think about the math. This is simple math. 60 years of unpleasant life to gain a pipe dream of 20 really good golden years. That's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. Your health is declining. I'm 60. I don't have the vitality. I don't have the youth. I can't walk as far. I can't enjoy the time I have. By 70, I expect it to be drastically diminished from what it is now. So you're trading 60 years for possibly 10 years. That's terrible math. I can't understand how anybody believes that's a good deal. But they do, because they've been brainwashed into believing it. There's just nothing else to it. From the moment you go to school, you're trained to think this way. Every minute of your life, you're trained to think, plan for the future, plan for the future. Now ask yourself this, who wins in that scenario? Why is society so dead set on you planning for your future and having an unpleasant life today? I'll tell you who wins. The corporations win. They get a workhorse, a slave, that you work all your life. You go to work, you go to your cubicle, you go to McDonald's, and that's where you're going now. You're going to McDonald's, and you slave away, and then you listen to the commercials, and you go out and you buy a bunch of their crap, and they get rich. The corporations get rich. You work yourself to death, and then at 60, they put you out to pasture. Now, at least at one time, they used to feed you and take really good care of you after 60 with a pension, with Social Security. Those are gone. So it's not only a pipe dream, not only is it terrible math and a terrible trade to live at a life you don't enjoy for a life that you will like, a very short life that you'll like, 40, 60 years of life you don't like for 20, possibly, maybe 20 years that you will like. What's terrible math? But now the 20 years that you will love is gone. You're not getting a pension. Maybe you're saving a little towards a 401k or IRA. Maybe, probably not. You're probably living paycheck to paycheck with no future. All you're going to have is when you die is Social Security. So here's what the plan is in 2016 for you. This is what these people are preaching me and tell it to me and say, no, you got to tell people to work the normal. Work until they're ready to die and then live being happy. So that plan now is work hard, really hard, and then when you get old, there won't be anything. You'll be just as miserable as you would be if you had not planned, because there are no pensions. They're gone. Who gives a pension anymore? And how many pensions were promised and then pulled out from under people and they never got it, starting in 2008 with the economic collapse. And since then, they just simply don't offer pensions. They're virtually gone. There's very few pensions that you can get. Social Security, now you're working minimum wage jobs for very little money. You're not building up Social Security. Most of us, by the time we get to, none of us have savings because we're all living on such low wage jobs. By the time we get to retirement, we're not going to have anything. So if there's not going to be anything there, if the golden years are going to be terrible, enjoy the crap out of your youth. Go out there and grab life by the balls and enjoy.
So I saw this video on Dapper Dev's channel earlier and I wanted to make a reaction video myself. He made a lot of good points, and this guy, he made a lot of good points too. I agree with everything he says, actually. Everything he says, I do agree. But there's either two things you could do here. One, you can do what this guy is doing, and that is live your life for 60 years. Travel, have fun, spend a lot of money, and have a lot of fun doing it, and possibly have no retirement, nothing, when you get to 60. Or you can plan for the future, have that 401k, get a Roth IRA, work hard, and then when you get to 60, you actually can retire. I feel like in this video he did make a lot of good points, but would you rather slave away for 40 to 60 years of your life, and you can retire and have even just a golden amount of years, like 10 to 15 years of golden years, or spend all your money, travel, do all this fun stuff, and then when you get to when you're super old, like 60 to 70, and you have nothing. He didn't explain the fact that if you do get to 60 years old or 65, when you plan to retire, you probably, if you don't have any money and you don't have any savings, you'll probably have to keep on working until you're dead. That's kind of what it is. I think that's the point. I think that's the point that was missing here. Like I said, in a fantasy world, he does say the right things and he says what everybody's thinking. Nobody likes to work. I wish I can go out and have fun every single day and spend as much money as I can, but that's not reality. The reality is that if you don't save, if you don't do anything to plan for the future, you're going to end up broke and you might actually have to work forever. And who wants to do that? I think the smartest thing to do is to save as much money as you can. You'll have to work. That's just life. You have to work unless you're inherited a lot of money or you make, easy money to where you can travel. You could get the best of both worlds, but I don't know. It just sounds like a fantasy world in a way. I would love to be able to do what this guy's doing, and just anybody could just say, "Hey, everybody, go out there and live your best life and live everything." But it's true, but it could also be just a fantasy world, because you need money and you need to save. You can't just do all this fun stuff and then not expect to reap the consequences if you don't save, if you don't plan for the future. So, I don't know. Am I missing something here? I do feel that he did say all the right things for a fantasy world, but in reality, you're going to have to work and you're going to have to save. And when you do get to those golden years, I know that there's rarely any pensions anymore. There's not a lot of jobs that are willing to do that. So you have to be responsible and you have to do that yourself. And if you don't, you're gonna end up broke, and you might have to work until you're dead, and nobody wants to do that. So I would love to do what this guy is doing, but you need to work and you need savings. So I don't know. I know that nobody likes to work. Like I said earlier, nobody likes to work. I don't really like to work, but I know that I have to do it to feed my family, feed myself, take care of my family. So I don't know. I feel that this whole video did make a lot of sense, but at the same time, it didn't make too much sense because it's just not reality in a way. We still have to go out and do what we have to do to be able to take care of ourselves in the future. So I wanted to make this video, wanted to react to it because, like I said, it seemed like just not reality in a way. You could, like I said, you can save a lot of money, and then what's that saying that people say, live like no one else? So I think Dave Ramsey said that, live like no one else so later you can live like nobody else. So that means your life in the beginning is going to be absolutely crappy. You're going to have to work, you're going to have to save, but in the end you'll be able to enjoy that time when nobody else is probably going to be able to do that, because they're still going to work, because they're acting like this guy here, where they're making bad financial decisions and possibly not saving. So like I said, I don't know this guy. I don't know his if he has savings or not or anything like that. It sounded like in the video that it's just like, hey, life's gonna be crappy, so you might as well, instead of working for 40 years, enjoy those 40 years, because who wants to work for 60 years and basically when you retire, you're going to be dead anyway. So if you don't save, you're gonna be working till you're dead. That's really just that's the reality of it. So, and nobody wants to do that. I've known people who have done that, sadly, where they just don't. They're not gonna be able to retire because they weren't working at their future. They weren't planning for their future. So, I think we need to work for the future, and we need to live like nobody else so later we can live like nobody else. And that's what I want to do, to be honest with you. I've almost got my wife and I, we've been trying to tackle our debt. We've been paying off as much debt as we can because I want to start building an emergency fund, so if things do come up, nothing is gonna, break us. We could pay for it, and eventually, I want to start paying off my house. I want to be able to pay off my house to where I don't have to worry about it anymore, and I could save that money, and I don't have to put it towards that anymore, and I could just grow my savings. And possibly if I do that, maybe I won't have to work anymore because there's things like YouTube, the internet, whatnot, and everything else, that DoorDash, that you don't have to go to a traditional job to do that. So if I can get that big chunk of my house paid off and get it all paid off, maybe then I could start experiencing financial freedom for the first time in my life. So that's really the plan for me. I would love to pay off my house to be able to not have to feel like I got to work forever to enjoy my life in the end. I would love to retire at like the age of 50, or at least semi-retire. If I have all that paid off, I won't have to worry too much. So he made a lot of good points here, but I wanted to kind of share my opinions about things as well. So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe and see more videos, I'll be posting more often. So thank you guys for coming on, and I will see you on the next one.